Hello, my friends. Today is August the 13th, and this is a psychic reading for you if this is your birth date. I'm a psychic reader and healer, been doing it for many years. Check out my credits. I do a lot of psychic readings over the internet one on one. This is a four-card pull to cover the year to follow. It could be 6 to 10 minutes long. Bear with me. The first card is a lens card to look at the year. Second card is a challenge you might face this year. The third card is an action to take to stay in balance against that challenge. And the fourth is a synopsis card or mile marker card. So the lens card for the year is the desert. The desert is, a harsh taskmaster on a lot of levels because the desert says at some point, or for a long period or a short period, whatever it is, you're going to feel like you're in the desert. And the questions of survival, the questions of thriving come forward, the questions of intense light needed that is there and that makes you look at things, and the intense darkness when that light is gone, that becomes now cold and eerie and shadowy and full of the night sounds that take you into your emotions and take you into your more watery aspects. The lunar and the solar acts of the desert are powerful. And the desert, reduces you to, do you have enough water? Do you have enough food? Do you have enough clothing? Do you have any kind of shelter to keep that intense sun from beating you down, or that intense cold to protect you from all the weird, eerie sounds? The desert reduces you to that kind of introspection. Maybe it's a trip to the desert to actually walk through the desert. Maybe it's a trip into your own soul that says, when you're reduced to that thought about staying alive, what do you do? Are you willing to look at what is being shown to you? Are you willing to listen in the depth of that dark, dark, dark night and face your fears and look at yourself with great light and great honor, because what's at stake is your own sense of survival? Whatever that means. Maybe it's a thought process, maybe it's a physical process. It doesn't really matter. It's in there working some kind of truth out for you. So this is a year where the truth might come in the form of the desert, the looking within. Here is the challenge, page of swords, happily just going about your way, very interested in the different kind of understandings you can bring to yourself, teachings. This is about swords, it's about mind, it's about studies, it's about communication, it's about, the mathematical connection to thing, the Fibonacci code playing through. It's the deep want of knowledge, but the page is often unsure of what direction they want to go. They have a lot of different interests. You might have a lot of different interests, but the challenge is, I think, that they're not just not connecting with you, or you're not connecting with them this year for some reason, and they don't feel like they're necessarily your path anymore. They don't feel like they hold that fascination anymore. And there's a question now about what is important to you, what is really calling for you to look at and understand on a deep level, what really is meaningful to you in your life. The desert shows up, here saying, maybe something happens that keeps you from following your pursuits, or something happens inside of you that says, I don't know what to pursue right now in the way of my mind and understanding. I feel somewhat, lost in direction. This is about not feeling clear anymore about what really you want to study and do and be part of for some reason. Maybe it's blocked you, and maybe that's a universal block that's saying, oh, we're going to put you on the right path. Or maybe you're internally struggling with it and going, it just doesn't feel like what I'm supposed to be doing. So here comes the desert, and here comes the action to take the bear, hibernation, going within, meditation, solitude. A bear is often alone through most of their life. Mate, have a baby, break up. Well, mate, break up, have a baby, and then kick those babies out after a couple of years or couple of years, and then be off by oneself and have their 100 square miles of territory to roam and have control over and sleep and eat and fend for themselves. That's a very hermit-like life. It's a very crone energy of going into the woods and listening to yourself deeply and finding the rhythms of your own body and finding your own sense of how you can survive and thrive, by really deeply listening to yourself. And that's why bear is often about meditation, hibernation, introspection, looking within. So you have two very within cards, a lens card that says, maybe think about, this is a good thing to go hibernate somewhere, to go really listen to yourself, to maybe go face some old fears in yourself. And that's usually what this is about, old fears that we've stuck down in the desert of our soul, and that desert is dry and barren because we're not sending any moisture to it. We're not giving it any kind of love or compassion or honest openness to the vulnerability that's there. But maybe that vulnerability is screaming at you and saying, you've got to look at me, you've got to feel me, I want to be alive, I don't want to feel lost in the desert anymore, I don't want to be without moisture anymore, I want to have some love in my life, I want some shelter in my life, I want to have some nurturance, I want to be connected to my deepest sense of source. That's kind of inner child work, whatever you want to say this as. There's something old in you. Maybe it came from your growing up. Maybe it came from other episodes. Maybe it came from past lives. But lives repeat in cycles, and a lot of our tendencies just keep coming back to us to learn over and over again. Different ways to see it, different ways to have compassion for it, different ways to honor it and heal it. And I think, you're just on your path this year. And it's asking you to open to whatever is the desert of your soul and to give it some nurturance and to listen to it deeply and to find out the wisdom that's inside of you. The wisdom that is inside of you is what is going to carry you through your life. The wisdom of your own connection to spirit and mundane, to everyday and magnificent connectedness, whatever that means. But how you raise your own eyes and raise your own soul and transcend your own limitations, including mentally, including what sparks you. There's a need to feel into what sparks you and what internally would make you flower. You can't just look outside of yourself for the answers. This is an internal quest. Here's the last card, synopsis card. It's an internal quest. It's an internal looking for knowledge. It's an internal way to bring apply different philosophies. You're a scientist. This says you're a scientist, or that you're really one that wants to understand and know things anyways, scientist or philosopher, or whatever, just a studier. So study different systems that talk to you about healing your own body, your own emotions, your own fire and passions, your own heart and its heartaches, your own throat and its decisions to speak or not speak, in your own mind that says it's either closed or that's open. It's like there's a lot of great ways to study yourself, which can be very healing for you and for others. And I think on a lot of levels, this kind of a layout says you are a healer. You're being led to find something that really truly speaks to you, and in that process of finding what really speaks to you, do you open up to be able to speak to others that can help them speak to themselves, to learn how to speak to themselves and share a universal healing that is just really about doing the only work that we are here to do, I think. Blessed be.